Hey everybody, Todd Orchide here again for Property Manager or PM Assist, www.propertymanagerassist.com. If you're looking to go to our website, quick video to highlight our newest content. We have a full version of this that's over an hour that goes over, the second part of our custom management agreement. This is a three-part series. This is just kind of a quick video to go over some of the key parts of that full lesson that we teach. So a lot more content if you do the whole thing. But we like to get these videos out there for those who haven't subscribed to the full content to kind of get at least a taste of what we're offering. So hopefully you saw the first video that talks about the importance of having a custom management agreement. This one, we will go through some of the provisions in that contract that we like. So first, let's start off with trust account reporting. This provision in our management agreement basically gives us time for sending out owner reports and sending owner disbursements. Now, as a actual practice, what we generally do in the business is we actually process owner payments every single day, or every banking day, I should say, every day we're actually working. But our management agreement gives us a lot more time than that. The way our management agreement is written is we have up to 30 days after the month in which the rent was received in order to provide both a statement and actual disbursement of the funds. So if someone pays the rent on December 1st, we have until January 30th to actually give them their final statement for December and disperse their money. Again, we don't actually do this 99% of the time. We're processing their owner payments daily, and we send out their statement usually on the first business day of the month. But the reason we do this in the contract is because we want to have the ability to hold funds if there's a problem. For example, if an owner is trying to terminate their management agreement when the contract doesn't allow for it, there's going to be a bunch of fees owed for that early termination. We would want to place a hold on the funds to make sure we have those, so when the account is terminated, we still have those funds on hand. So we want the ability to hold funds for that reason. Let's say, a situation we've actually recently had in the last few months, an owner sold her property to the tenant without notice. As you know, if you've watched our other videos, we require that the owner pay a commission if they sell the property to the tenant. We get a commission for that because we procured the tenant. This owner was trying to get out of doing that, even though the contract requires it. So what we did is we placed a hold on her funds so that when the rent came in from the tenant, it didn't get sent to the owner because that money was going to come to us for our commission. And this is the provision that allowed us to do that because we knew that was going to happen. We knew what she was trying to do. So give yourself time to get these things done just in case you need it. And then, like I said, as an actual matter of practice, do it much more quickly in most cases, but this protects you if you need it. And again, this provision also provides protection at the end of a management agreement. So when a tenant moves out, it's your final tenant, management's terminating for whatever reason. This gives us 45 days in that case. And the reason we want that is to make sure that all of the final bills from any utilities, repairs, anything else have been received and processed before we send the final funds to the owner. So that's the reason for this. Highly recommend you put something like this in your management agreement. Next provision we'll talk about is bounced payments that get returned. So, regardless of what you may think, there's really no such thing as certified funds. Money orders, cashier's checks, credit cards, ACHs, just about anything can be disputed and returned. All of the above we have had disputed over our 15-year history at some point or another. Every single one of those payment methods has actually been returned, even though they were supposedly certified funds. So yes, even a cashier's check. So when that happens, and sometimes it can happen long after the payment cleared the bank, that money gets pulled back out of your account, and now you have a situation where your trust account is negative. You need to get those funds back from the owner. This provision requires the owner to send the money back to you. And if they don't, it authorizes you to automatically debit their banking account, their checking account that they have on file with you. Your property management software might have the ability to do this. We use Propertyware, and we have the ability for that. But you can also probably do this through your bank if you set up ACH payments with them. So, you want to have that authority to get that money back if you have this problem. So that's important. Next, holding funds after move out. So we talked earlier about a management termination and wanting to hold funds in that case. This is just dealing with when a tenant moves out of the property and you got to get the property turned and rented again. When that happens, we want to make sure that we're holding the money during that period of time. We don't want to take the money that we get from the tenant's security deposit. Let's say there's a bunch of damage. We got to do an expensive turn, so we withheld the tenant's deposit. We don't want to get that money and then send it to the owner. We want to hold that money to make sure that we're using it for the repairs that get done. So this provision in the contract allows us to place a hold on the owner's account until the completion of the turnover. So this gives us all the time we need to get the property rent ready, so that at the very least you have the funds from the owner's reserves and whatever you took from the security deposit in order to cover those costs. So make sure you get that in your contract. Next, we want to have broad authority on leasing and signing leases. So what this provision of the agreement does, number one, it reiterates that we have the authority to market the property, put out for rent, for sale sign, or for lease signs, all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, it gives us the authority to sign leases on the owner's behalf. So we don't want to have to go and get the owner's signature on a lease. So this gives us the authority to do that. But it also gives us the authority to decide when to terminate a lease. So, if, for example, let's say you have a situation where a tenant calls in a maintenance request. They say there's mold in the house. You send out a vendor. The mold specialist says, yeah, for once, the tenant's actually right. There is mold. You got an infestation. Nobody should be living there. You don't want to have to go to the owner and get their permission to terminate that lease. You want to be able to go directly to the tenant as soon as you get that report and say, hey, you're right. Property's got a mold problem. We're going to have to do remediation. We're going to let you out of your lease right now. You want the authority to do that. So this provision will do that. It also gives you the authority to settle lawsuits at the owner's behalf and at his expense. So let's say you have that situation where there's mold in a property. You let the tenant out of the lease. They still sue you anyway. But let's say you think you can get an easy settlement on the owner's behalf. You'll get the tenant to go away paying him $1,000. This gives you the authority to do that. So you don't have to go and haggle with the owner, because as you know, if the owner gets sued, they're going to sue you too. So you want the ability to actually resolve the whole thing, both for you and the owner. And then finally, this gives you the ability to collect on any lawsuits that you may have to file, any evictions, any tenants who move out owing money even after their deposit's applied. This gives you the authority to collect on the owner's behalf. So all of this is very important in this section of the contract. So make sure you have these provisions. Hope you found that helpful. If you like this and want to get more value out of it, I recommend you sign up for the PM Assist Insider course. We put out about an hour-long video every 2 weeks. We do it twice a month with lots of information. So this was just 3 provisions. We go through about 30 of them in the full video this time that we've just released. So it's just $99 a month. Lots of very cheap consulting, basically, if you sign up for that course. So we hope you'll do that. If not, we'll see you the next time on YouTube.